Before we get into the main argument, let's review the basis of Descartes' philosophy. At some point in his life, Descartes realized that the human belief system is fundamentally flawed. It is way too fallible. So he begins doubting that the ideas in his head actually represent the real world. Can I prove that the physical world actually exists? Or maybe everything that I'm experiencing in my life is just a dream passing by. Descartes' skepticism backfires on itself. He suddenly realizes that I am the one who is doing the thinking and the doubting. Therefore, I must exist. I think, therefore I am. In his view, the I is a mind thing, not a physical thing, because the mind is doing the thinking and the doubting. Descartes has not yet proven the existence of a physical world, but only a mind. He considers the human mind to be a small portion of an infinite being he names God, a perfect being, but the human mind is an imperfect manifestation of that huge perfection, and that's why it often gets the ideas wrong. To prove the existence of a physical world, he does not use his senses. He won't say, okay, I see that tree over there, therefore the world must be real. Or I smell this food here, therefore it must be real. No, he thinks our senses are too fallible. So he uses a completely rational approach, based on deductive reasoning only, to prove the existence of a physical world. Premise 1. There is a perfect being out there. Premise 2. A perfect being cannot be a deceiver. Therefore, it cannot place wrong ideas in my head. Therefore, the ideas of a physical world that I have must be real. Therefore, the physical world must be real. The world exists. We have a human being with an imperfect mind, and on the top we have a perfect being named God, which is the true source of knowledge according to Descartes. And the only way a human mind can achieve the truth is to somehow connect to that world of perfection. And Descartes thinks there are tools available to this mind so knowledge can be achieved. And the tools are the tools of rationalism, such as mathematics, geometry, deductive reasoning, anything that has to do with reason and rationalism. In general, Descartes' theology was in accordance with religions such as Christianity and Islam. Descartes' perfect being was the equivalent of the Christian monotheistic God. Descartes' mind was the equivalent of the immortal soul that connects to the God, according to the Christian Bible. But nevertheless, Descartes invented a philosophy that may become a little problematic for the traditional religions in the upcoming centuries. Descartes introduced the method of doubt to the world of philosophy. So a philosopher doubts and removes every assumption and belief that he or she is uncertain about, until he or she is left with a solid foundation. And this is exactly how Descartes proved the existence of the mind. Because as he was doubting everything, he suddenly realized that he was thinking about it, therefore his mind must be real. And that became the foundation of all of his theories. Now, this method of doubt this form of radical skepticism, though it saves philosophy from dogmatism, it can actually pose a danger to religion. Because in religions you need a form of faith. For example, in Islam you need to have faith in Prophet Muhammad and the Quran. In Christianity you need to have faith in Jesus Christ and the Bible. Same in Judaism. But if you begin questioning the scripture and the Quran, then you may be causing problems for that religion. Descartes' rationalism placed reason over faith. Reason always wins. Now imagine, I have a faith in a belief that is not supported by reason or even contradicted by it. Then what's the deal? Can religions be used to obtain knowledge from the perfect being? For example, some religions have stories of creation. Some have stories of afterlife. For example, how the heaven looks like, and they provide a vivid description of the hell as well. If Descartes' method of doubt is applied on these stories due to the lack of evidence and reasonings, the stories may be regarded as unwarranted. It's impossible to tell what the source of the stories are. Are they coming from a mind so vulnerable to errors? Or are they coming from a perfect being, the source of knowledge? It's impossible to tell. Spinoza, a philosopher influenced by Descartes, he begins questioning the origin of the Hebrew Bible. He also questions the authority of the Pope and many other things relating to religion. And eventually he concludes that religions are a form of stabilized superstition. And a superstition is not designed to bring us the truth. So, Spinoza's ultimate truth was similar to Descartes', only God. Martin Luther has already eliminated the Church as the only mediator between the human beings and God. But Descartes takes it one step further. He replaced it with reason. Descartes' nature of reality is divided into two substances. There's a mind, or an immaterial thing, and there's a body, or the material thing. Now, there's always a room for God in Descartes' theory, because the mind, or the immaterial thing, is the same substance as the God, so the two are always in connection. But after Descartes, the philosophers, many of them start choosing sides. For example, the British philosopher Thomas Hobbes, he was a materialist. He believed that the world is only composed of matter. The mind is a complete illusion. Once you remove the mind from the universe, you are dealing with a world without an active consciousness, a world without a creator. You are heading towards atheism. Now let's take a look at the contrary situation. Another philosopher named George Berkeley believed that the mind was the only thing that was real. As soon as humans open their eyes, their mind is actively creating the world. There is no way to tell what's out there, or if there is anything out there. The mind is the world. Even the material world is God. In the 17th and 18th century, the gap between the believers and the non-believers was widening rapidly. Religion itself was under attack from several directions. Scientific revolution was taking place, and many philosophers were asking for a separation of state and church. And Descartes' philosophy, though it created a strong foundation for God, it did not do much for religion. So in the upcoming decades, we do observe a general weakening of the foundation of religion in Europe.